Hi guys, it's Tina. I'm back again for what is going to be kind of our last episode of making some tags. We've been doing those every day of this Easter weekend. So I thought I'd come on and just do, you know, a final kind of tags session really before the weekend's over. So debating really kind of what to do here. I pulled in some acetate and wondered about playing with making a tag from acetate. I haven't ever done that before. I like using acetate, you know, kind of with other things. And I wondered what it would be like to make a tag. So we might do that if there's time, because I'm not kind of sold on that idea just yet. But I've just kind of layered up a couple of things there just in case. So I'm just going to pop that to one side. And so what I thought we'll do is make a kind of tag booklet. Now, I've got this obviously, you know, the collage page here, and I've got another piece of the background page here. So what I thought we'd do is kind of double them up. So I'm just going to cut kind of roughly where I think it would be. So probably about here, I think. So just cut kind of roughly up here, and you know, it doesn't have to be exact or anything because obviously we can trim this down in a minute. I'm just going to glue this for you know, double thickness really, just so it's kind of extra robust. So what I might do is just trim across so it's not quite so gigantic. Just there. I mean, you know, you don't probably have to double the thickness of it. You know, a lot of people would probably just go for it like that. So, you know, it may be that we'll do this and kind of decide that actually it would have been better kind of not doubled up. But I just thought, you know, we'll do it doubled up. Obviously, I could have printed this double-sided, which, you know, then you would have it kind of patterned on both sides anyway. Again, obviously, that's not going to give you the kind of really thick kind of layer that I thought we'd try and go for. So let me just get my card for spreading the glue. And I'm still using my glue thinned out, so you know, hopefully it's not going to kind of really dry too, you know, thick and solid and kind of, you know, so it's not flexible at all. So I'll just spread that glue out like that. I've been playing around a bit last night when we got back and we were watching a movie. I was playing around a bit with trying to come up with some new folding kind of ideas. So I've got one or two things kind of that I'm, you know, hoping that I might kind of be able to come along and show you guys soon. Still kind of working on them at the moment, but hopefully some new kind of things. Right, so we've got that as our kind of base. So it's quite thick and robust now. And then I think we want the collage on the inside. And again, I mean, I probably should really have my bone folder. I just don't know where it actually is at the moment. So, well, I think it's actually in a box underneath my desk. But I'm not going to dig that out right now. So we're making just a folded kind of tag here. So now that we've got it kind of folded, I'm going to trim it up down the edges just to neaten it up a little bit, so that the, you know, the edges are meeting where they should be, like that. Oops. I'm just going to trim the corners off. So we've got one there. And on there. Hope you're all having a really nice Easter. The sun is still shining here. So, you know, we've been very lucky with the weather. This is kind of unprecedented. In fact, I think we've actually broken records this year. You know, the weather's actually broken records this year because I don't think we've ever had it so hot for an Easter weekend. So really lucky. Well, in fact, yesterday we'd gone to the beach. We went to a different beach, and I was saying to the children, you know, I can remember we've got pictures of us like a few years ago on another Easter weekend, kind of, you know, going to a local kind of park place, and it was freezing. We were all in kind of coats and scarves and, you know, what have you. So it really is kind of very unusual to have this such lovely weather. Now, don't know whether this is a little bit on the wide side for my liking. So, excuse me, just trim it down slightly more. Just try and even that. They look roughly the same. Don't look too bad, do they? So I just thought it was perhaps slightly too wide. So let's see whether it's better now. I think that's better. Might still be a bit wide still, but if I chop it much more, I'm going to get rid of my little flower border. So these are the little offcuts that we've got. And for some reason I've noticed I'm now standing up again, so I'm going to sit down to do this video. I don't know why I end up standing up. So we could pop a little pocket on the front, or we could pop pockets inside. I think I'm going to do that. So just going to kind of roughly trim it in the middle, and then we can kind of have it like that, I think. So now, obviously yesterday, here's the glue update. Yesterday I had, you know, watered my glue down and cleaned the nozzle, and it was fantastic. Today, my glue, you know, it needed watering down again, and the nozzle kind of needed unblocking further again. Oops. Actually, I wonder whether I should have them those way around. No. The nozzle needed unblocking again. So I did all of that, and now I have a situation where the glue is just leaking constantly from the bottle. So I'm actually now becoming even more covered in glue because it's just leaking from here continually. So the entire bottle is now kind of sticky and gluified. So it's obviously kind of, yeah, just more glue issues really from me. So, right. So just excuse my very mucky fingers, I'm afraid. So, right, and then I'm just going to apply a bit of glue here, bit of glue along the bottom, pop it down roughly kind of in place, and then I'll glue that edge down. So I'm just kind of making sure there's a little bit of a gap, because otherwise when it folds you're going to end up with the paper kind of creasing, so that's why I'm leaving a little gap there. Okay, So we've got a couple of pockets on the inside, which they look really cute, don't they? Oops. So, and then I'm going to obviously trim off the outside. Just trim these down. Yes, I hope you all ate lots of Easter eggs and yummy things yesterday. We had our Easter egg hunt, so the children ate lots of things. My daughter mainly. The boys are kind of a bit, you know, more grown out of that now, but she kind of ate until she was feeling sick, so she's definitely not grown out of it yet. Right, okay. So I love how that looks already. Like that. And then we'll decorate the front cover, or you know, the front of the tag, oops, I should say. And then I'm probably going to leave the back plain just for journaling. So I'm just going to double this over because it's now a bit gluey, but we'll just leave the back plain for journaling, but we'll decorate the front. So I just get some of the fussy cuts here, and we'll just see how we want to kind of decorate this up. So I've got a couple of pieces here, so cut out a couple of these. Cut out this balcony image, and then I'll just see what else we've got over here. So these are just my kind of remnants from you know, what we were using yesterday. So might have one of the words, I think. So might have one of these. You see how it looks in pink, but it might kind of blend in too much to the page. So we might decide to use a white one. I'm going to just cut one of these out. I don't know whether I will use one of these on the tag, but I'll just kind of have a look and see what looks good, I think. Right, that's probably enough to be getting on with for a moment. So, right, let's have a look at the bits that we've got. So we've got this piece here. I might just cut this out and see how this looks. And I think what I do is kind of fussy cut around it. I'm not going right up to the edges. I'm doing that thing that they call kiss cut, where you kind of go close but not right in. And obviously I've put those on the rectangles so that you've got the option of, you know, if you didn't want to kind of fussy cut around it, you could just keep it as a rectangular kind of piece on your page. But it's actually not too fiddly to cut, because, you know, the bottom's completely straight and the rest of it's just kind of a little bit of a kind of zigzag, really. So we could kind of have that. Let's just see. Just cut out, I think. Because if we decide not to use this one, then this might go in one of those pockets, but I think this might be too big actually to go in one of those pockets on the inside. And I think what we'll do is ink this one up, because yesterday's tag that we made using all the pinks, we didn't ink up. So I think we will ink this one up so we get a different look. So I'll just cut this piece out. kind of layer those up really. Look. Might just cut this building out. It's not building, balcony. I love chocolate, or used to love chocolate, and you know, a bit like my daughter, would eat and eat and eat and eat and eat until literally I kind of felt sick. And I haven't eaten chocolate now for about 4 years because once I start, I literally can't stop. So what I do now, I'm vegetarian, but there's loads of vegan recipes for, you know, making your own chocolate. So I kind of make my own now, which is obviously, you know, kind of much better because it's quite rich and you can't actually eat too much of it, you know, because you get quite full and it's quite sickly. So when I say I haven't eaten chocolate for 4 years, I'm saying I haven't eaten shop-bought chocolate, but I have eaten my own you know, homemade chocolate. So I obviously made myself some to have yesterday. It's actually very easy to make, so and it doesn't really take very long or anything. But just for me, that was kind of helpful because I did have a bit of an issue with you know, with overeating when it came to chocolate. So, you know, all that kind of sugar in one hit wasn't probably very good. So it's much better now. And it's kind of fun actually to experiment with some of these different recipes. I mean, you know, some of the things that you come across are ingenious, that people have made kind of, you know, healthier options for you know, what would previously be very naughty foods, you know. So I wonder whether I could have it kind of more as a little corner piece. I could have it across the top. I might not have it at all. Quite nice like that, actually. Now, I've also got some doily here. So we could have a bit of doily. Perhaps that looks kind of nice. And then this one down here. Just going to stand up and see how it looks through the camera, because sometimes kind of a bit of height can give a bit of a different kind of view on things, can't it? Perhaps I will cut out this one and just see whether having a kind of white one rather than the pink one. Yeah, so lots of the kind of vegan-y foods contain dates, and strangely enough, I mean, I'd never even eaten a date up until, you know, 4 years ago, but now they're a kind of constant staple in my house now, because you can make the most delicious caramel using dates and, you know, all sorts of things. And actually one of the chocolate recipes that I've got uses dates in it. Most of them don't. Most of them just use cacao butter maple syrup, although I tend to use honey because obviously I'm not a vegan, and honey is considerably cheaper than maple syrup. And then cacao powder, which is kind of in its natural form. So right, I'm not loving the top of this tag. It's looking quite plain to me, so perhaps I could have that there. Something just not working at the top there for me. Let's have a look and see what else I've got. I've got another word here that we could pop on there. Just having a look through my little bits and bobs. Let's just take this. So the children go back to school tomorrow, and back to work and everything. Everything back to normal after the Easter holidays. Hate it when the holidays finish. They seem to kind of fly by, don't they? Right, so I might have it like that. So I might just pop this down. Let's just get gluing. Right, for some reason I'm now standing up again. Since checking I was in frame, I didn't then sit back down, so sit down where it is actually a bit easier to craft. And obviously I'll trim off the edges in a moment. Just going to pop this piece down. Pop that over there. Going to pop the doily down. My husband just bought me a cup of tea, so I'm just going to have a quick sip of my tea. Oh, I love my cups of tea. And I'm very naughty because I do have sugar in my tea. So I've got a very sweet tooth. So, yeah. Tea just doesn't taste the same without the sugar. I know people say, oh, you get used to it eventually, but I just think you've got to do some naughty things, haven't you? And, you know, I've given up chocolate, and I mean, I don't drink or anything like that. So, I think, well, you've got to have some vices, haven't you, in life? So I don't think really it's the end of the world if I have lots of cups of tea with sugar in, really. You know, I think there's far naughtier things that I could be doing, so I don't think that's too bad, really, if that's the worst that I do. Right, just grabbed a piece of lace. I did have another piece of lace, but I now can't locate it. I'll probably just place my tea on top of it, if the truth be known. Just quickly check. There it is. Because it's obviously a bit better size. Now my tea, I haven't really got room on my desk to have my tea. Right. Right, I quite like it like that. So I'm going to glue the balcony down. Okay. And then this piece here, I'll just quickly glue this onto the lace. Again, just seeing whether I've got the lace the right side up. I mean, I've said before, I don't really know whether it matters, but... And sometimes it really doesn't matter because you can barely see any of the lace poking out anyway, but obviously if there is a right and a wrong side, you want to kind of think that you've got it on the right side, don't you? So I'll just press that down, have another bit of my tea. I'll try and guzzle it and then it'll be gone. No, I couldn't quite manage it all in one gulp. Right. Turn this paper over because it's very gluey now. Right, while I'm waiting for that to dry a little bit, just going to trim those kind of edges off of here. I'm going to pop this on here. Like that. Now, I just said we're going to ink this, didn't I? So I might get inking it now. Just ink the balcony a little bit. And obviously, because this is a little booklet kind of tag, I'll ink the inside as well. Like that. Let's do this one. An overhang, and then I'll just ink the back up because although we're going to leave it plain for journaling, I'll just have it kind of you know, inked up so that it's kind of in keeping with obviously the rest of the tag. And you know, I mean, I've said before, but these obviously haven't been coffee dyed or anything. They're just as they came off of the printer. I don't know what's gone on there. I must have had a bit of glue there. So I'll just ink this piece up as well, and obviously that will just ink up the lace a bit as well. Not that I minded the lace white actually, even when it's kind of distressed. Sometimes I find the look of a bit of kind of white lace really quite nice, kind of poking out. So we've got that on there. So I'm going to glue that on. And again, I might just use a bit of hot glue for this, so it's got a bit of a raised kind of effect. You know, not hugely, but again, whoa, that was not meant to happen. So I might have to now stick something over here because I've now got that piece of hot glue. Oh, piece of hot glue there. Oh, isn't it annoying when things like that happen? Right, let's get my tea out of the way. Okay, leave that out of the way. Got some flowers here, so I think I'll take one of those and just glue it on where I dropped that hot glue, that piece of hot glue. Not that actually it particularly shows, but just in case it does, you know. I'll just kind of cover that up. Like that, okay. And then I'm going to do a hole, I think, through here. I'm just checking whether I want a hole or whether I want it with a piece of lace. I think I'm going to do a hole. Oops. So just take the like that. Got my little hole reinforcers that are already inked up. I'll just grab one off. And again, you know, I just dab a bit of glue just because I don't really kind of trust them to stick fully. So pop them down like that. And then, don't know whether this is quite long enough, to be honest. Let's just ink it up just for if we do decide to use it. Just pop that through there like that. And obviously, you know, you only want it going through the front one, because if it went through both, then you wouldn't be able to actually open your kind of booklet. So struggling because this isn't really quite long enough, but it just happened that it was kind of laying around where I obviously pulled it in just now. So I thought it would be handy to kind of just use it. So, well, it's okay. It's okay. I'm still not sure about this top bit. For me, there's something kind of still missing up there. So just having a look to see whether we want to have anything else up here. Just see whether we can have one of these pieces. Obviously, we've got these flowers, but they might be too big. Just going to kind of fussy tear this one. And then this one's actually got some flowers on it, so kind of include them in the tearing. And just ink that up. I prefer it, you know, than having a kind of blank space. So, and I've just spotted my favourite little flower trims, so I might have to have one of those down there. And I'm just going to grab a bit more lace. I'll have to cut another piece off, I think. I don't think I've got any smallish bits laying around. So I'm just going to cut another bit that I've you know, can have a kind of more manageable piece to work with. So just bear with me for a couple of minutes. So if I were to pop that on here, like that. That looks nice, doesn't it? I have got some flowers that I'd fussy cut earlier, actually, when I was contemplating doing the acetate tag. So we'll just see how they look, but they are a bit monstrous on there, aren't they? Let me just check. Or what we could do is we could kind of fussy cut these ones, which are obviously then much smaller. They may be a bit too small, but let me just see whether I've got these ones which are on a pink one. So hold on. Hope this isn't really tedious watching me now just deliberate over whether to have a word or whether to have flowers. So those might be a bit too big still. So let's just take these. that. So I'm just going to kind of very quickly fussy cut around these. And again, I'm doing more of a kind of kiss cut around these. And the reason, you know, I've picked these rather than the ones on the white one that I looked at just a moment ago is obviously because the background of the tag is pink, it will be blending into the background a little bit better if I cut the ones out that are on the pink. You see what I mean? And this is where, obviously, again, if I bought a packet of shop bought die cut pieces, I would never want to cut out an element off of the, you know, one of the pieces, because what a waste, you know. But I guess that's the beauty of kind of the printables, isn't it? Because obviously it doesn't really matter, because I can just print some more of that. So I'll just ink this up. And then we can decide whether we prefer the flower or the word. So that's the flowers. And that's the word. Could have the flowers on the lace. Stand up again and see how it looks through the camera, because sometimes, again, you know, getting just that bit of height kind of looking down, it looks completely different to when you're sat down, you know, right in front of it. Oh, I still don't know. Let's just take that off. Oh, what does everybody think? Let me just glue this onto here so as it's actually attached to the lace. You know, because I can always use this somewhere. Oops. Just turn this over now. Right. So that's the word. That's the flowers. Might go for the flowers, which is strange because at first I thought I was leaning towards the word, but actually I think we'll go for the flowers. So we just pop them on, just kind of dabbing them with the tissue because obviously the glue's quite oozy now. Right, so we've got that like that. And then obviously when we open it, we've got the inside, and we can just pop this on here now. So actually I'm going to hot glue this one down because it didn't seem to want to dry very quickly yesterday. And I don't want to have to be kind of holding it down for ages. So just pop that in there. Like that. And then just going to ink up couple of pieces to put in those pockets on the inside. So there's one. And then let's have this pink vintage thing here. Pink vintage advert is the word, I think, that I was struggling to come up with. Rather than this pink thing. Couldn't think for a minute what it was called. So, there we go. And again, I'll just quickly ink this so as it looks in keeping with the, whoops, the rest of the tag. There we go. So another different style tag. So actually just before I finish, do I want any bling on here whatsoever? Because I do love a bit of bling. You see, to me everything just looks better with bling, doesn't it? Yeah, let's just pop that on there like that. So just take that. Oops. There we go. Right, I'm going to stop fiddling around with this now. So I'm just bringing the tags in that we made over the last 2 days. Let me put a kind of white sheet down. Actually, I've got some black card here because I was debating doing a black one. So they'll show up really nicely on the back. So these are the 3 tags that we've made, you know, over the last 3 days. So, I mean, obviously these two look kind of similar-ish in that they're kind of distressed and they've got obviously a balcony and things on the front. But obviously this one is very different because it's a little tag kind of booklet with obviously kind of journaling space on the back. And then this was the one that obviously we didn't ink this up yesterday at all. We just left it kind of white, or, you know, crisp as it had come off of the printer. So I hope that you liked the craft along this morning, and I will see you all again soon. So thanks very much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day. Thanks. Bye.